it got to a point where I was unhappy with my finances, and I could not believe how much lighter I felt in my body. It was like a weight just shifted off of me. And I realized that the story I was telling myself was that I wasn't good with finances or I wasn't good with numbers. And that's not true. So as I processed my stress and anxiety around money, more of it started showing up because I wasn't nervous about it.
Hi, welcome to the Connect with Sheila Botello podcast. I'm an entrepreneur, self care strategist, and creator of the Seasons Self Care app. I'm committed to helping you reconnect to your purpose, elevate your well being, and build your version of a happy, successful life. It is interview day on the podcast, and I'm so thrilled to have a guest with me today to help you learn strategies to be able to embody peace and serenity for you to go about doing your best work. Michele Santo is an inspired energy healer and writer. She helps women create more fulfilling relationships by asking for what they want without hurting a soul. She believes the next phase of fulfillment in your life lives in your body. Energy work helps dissolve stress and trauma so your own vibrant energy has room to grow. Then life starts to flow in your favor. Michele, thanks so much for being here. And I love that so much. It's such a gift to have this information.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
So, I want to share a little bit about your journey. And I don't really know what led you to the work that you currently do, EFT being your predominant tool that you use in working with people. I'd love for you to share, how did you come across this work? What were you doing before? And then maybe explain to us a little bit about your experience with EFT tapping.
It's so funny, Sheila, because I feel like it found me
Mm.
and I thought it was weird for many years. Like I didn't give it the time of day. um, my former career, it was in marketing and I only worked with health and wellness leaders. But before that, I went to school for nutrition and I went to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And I wanted to work with people, women in particular, in a deeper way. I didn't really want to be in a corporate environment. And so when I took that training, that was like me stepping on the path for my own personal development. And I learned at that time that I was a highly sensitive person, and if things weren't working in my life, like sometimes I was the common denominator. And so I was always looking for ways to improve my life. And EFT was one of those things that just kept popping up.
It's incredible because I think I felt the same way about it when I first heard of it. And I don't think it was that I thought, oh, this probably doesn't work. It was just there were all these different modalities that I wanted to try. And I went with what I felt drawn to, right? And hey, fellow IIN alumni over here, I love this. We didn't
Oh,
know this about
cool.
each other. Such a beautiful awakening of, merging so many different types of ways of living, of eating, and realizing there isn't just one way and we get to flex and flow with what works for us. And not just like this is the way I should always do it, but oh, in this season of life, this is how I should do it. And then how is it going to shift and change? There's that openness. So that's so beautiful. And so what was the picture like in terms of, you left your marketing career, you became a health coach, and then how did you land in the work that you're currently doing?
Um, I feel like I needed a lot of help myself. I was always looking to improve my life. And it was one of those things where it was always in the back burner. Like for 7 years, I was like, oh, I would tap along with the Ortner family on YouTube and Brad Yates, and enjoyed it, but I didn't fully understand the science of what was actually happening and how powerful it is to change your physiology, like not just the brain, but the whole body, and actually calm you down. So it got to a point where I was unhappy with my finances. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take this online course. I just want to try something new. And I could not believe how much lighter I felt in my body. It was like a weight just shifted off of me. And I realized that the story I was telling myself was that I wasn't good with finances or I wasn't good with numbers. And that's not true. That's not true. So as I processed my stress and anxiety around money, more of it started showing up because I wasn't, nervous about it. And so then I said, if I could feel this shift with just listening to an audio recording, it wasn't even a live program. I said, I have to find a one-on-one practitioner. I want to really take this deeper. And in that time, I found this fabulous practitioner. And we tapped literally weekly. We still do, for a year or two. I think I've known her for a while. And so many things have melted away. It's amazing.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, that is so fascinating because I realize the power of that like that intentionality. And do you think it has a lot to do with like the presence that you have in terms of the story, like first knowing what the story is and then the actual physical act of releasing it? Is that really where the power lies?
Yeah, it's really in understanding your feelings about the thing that's bothering you the most,
Mm,
bringing in the acceptance. The moment that we say, I'm stressed about money and I'm okay with where I'm at right now, then your whole body goes, oh, you soften into it and you don't have to try to control it. You're like, this is where I'm at. It's okay. I'm human and I'm going to get better at this.
mm. Wow. That is so revolutionary and yet so simple, right? Like
Mhm.
we feel like it needs to be really, really hard. Like it might need years and years of therapy, or it might just need, here's a lot of money. If I just had more money, it'll be great. And I can say from my experience, more money comes. And then there's always opportunities to spend money like on important things, on valuable things, on helping people, on like cool things. And so, it really does come down to how do we feel about our ability to hold and allow money to flow. Like I see that now as I look back, it's so interesting. And again, like all of us, oh boy, to have these tools 20 years ago, right? Or 30
Mhm.
years ago. Um, and so you still are tapping with a practitioner. I find that so incredible because you realize the power of continuation. So tell me, like, give me an example of something that you or someone you've worked with have come to you for to tap along with, to work through. And then as they've released it, what then sometimes comes up in its place? Because it feels like it's a never ending thing. So tell me more about that.
It's so true. I met this woman, and I won't share her name. Very gifted with online business, very good with technology, and very easy to talk to.
Mm,
So I enjoyed working with her, and we've been working together for a while now. And I don't think she realized that she was in overdrive in her business, just working herself to the bone to the point of burnout. And we had to uncover, the story that, I'm not worthy unless I'm working, 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 working.
mm,
It was something in her childhood, like her parents were always working. They were entrepreneurs as well.
mm,
And she just felt like if she would take a day off, then they might think that she was lazy.
mm,
And so things happen in between the sessions as well, like these ahas bubble up. So she went on holiday. She went to another country and she said, for the first time in my business, I took completely switched off because she was in another country with her daughter. And, this is magical time to have wonderful experiences, and you're not really enjoying it if you're like half on your laptop.
Right.
And she said this was the first time that I even canceled calls while I was away and really just watched YouTube and listened to audiobooks and went biking and and I was like floored
Mm.
because so much had shifted for her. And I was just so proud of her that she allowed herself that experience.
Oh, that is incredible. And I wonder how things are going for her now. Like you go forward and then there's just that you're able to hold more and move through the various stressors that will inadvertently come because we're human and this is what we face. Um, maybe better resource to be able to handle those things. And that's thanks to working with you. So that must make you feel so good to be part of that, to hear the stories and the successes.
It really does. I'm always honored that people want to share, their innermost thoughts with me. It's something I enjoy, so it comes naturally, I think.
So great. Yeah. And you were talking about in something that you had written, like working less is part of true happiness because you
Mhm.
actually have access, right? And so helping people to be able to use some of these practices to bring more of that into their day-to-day life, that's a really powerful practice. And I'm wondering actually for those people who may not be fully aware of how EFT works, if you could just describe it to us. I know it's emotional freedom technique is what EFT stands for anyone who may not know. Um, like tell me a little bit about the origin of it and then how it works.
Sure. EFT, as you said, stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, and it's also known as tapping. And it originated about 40 years ago with a man called Gary Craig. And he found out that a lot of people with trauma, fears and phobias, people that might be afraid of water or driving,
Mm.
if they tapped on these acupressure points while talking about what's going on for them, it's actually signaling safety in the brain, and
Mm.
it's lowering your cortisol, it's lowering your blood pressure, and you're literally rewiring new neural pathways in the brain to help you create something different in your life. It's a super powerful way to address unresolved issues, and I love it because you can transform your beliefs and like reprogram your mind for greater success. It's scientifically proven to lower stress and anxiety by about 40%.
Wow.
And the best part is when you learn tapping points, you can do it on your own, on yourself,
Hmm.
which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can do it anywhere and you can do it at any time. And
Yeah,
if it's like,
it's
well, you
great.
can't, you may not be wanting to sit and tap in like a boardroom meeting, but hey, need to hit the ladies' room. You can easily find a spot to do that for yourself because sometimes those things happen. We just need it. And I know like here at midlife, hello, headed into those final, like the wisdom years. Yes. But with it comes that transition where you're like, whoa, where are these emotions coming from? So to be
Mhm.
able to just like find that grounding at any given time. And also, I've been talking to my kids about starting to use some of these techniques as well. And teenagers can be a little hesitant at times, but mine are pretty open-minded. They sometimes will try some of the things. And I see how, man, as a teenager, that would have been so helpful to have as a practice going through those tumultuous years where there's so much happening in the brain and the body and with all of the other kids going through the same thing. Like it is incredible how we get through those years. And so, do you work with any specific type of person in your practice, or do you have do you work with teens specifically?
That is so funny that you say that. It's like you're like picking up. I did go through a youth mentor training, and before this, I used to do workshops for preteens, and it was all, the self-care things that you talk about. just helping them realize that the things that we love about each other have like literally nothing to do with how we look, and
Mm.
just, empowering them with tools. But that was before I, learned about EFT.
Wow.
So, yes, I am very open to working with teens, preteens, and who knows, maybe that's my next step. But I do mostly work with women. I have worked with some men, and I find a lot of people come to me wanting support around creating, boundaries in their life,
Mm.
which is ironic because that's my life lesson as well.
Isn't it interesting how that happens in our work? Those things that we really need to learn, we end up teaching. And it's just like the
Mhm.
lessons keep landing. Talk to me about that. What are some boundary type things that you see coming up frequently in the work that you're doing with women and or men? And how are they moving through this boundary setting conversation? Because it's a real deal.
Yeah, it's hard. I feel like some people, as well as I call myself like a recovering people pleaser. It's just a pattern that happens with the way we were raised in our childhood.
Mhm.
Usually, when the family is not tolerant of you expressing your emotions, you might feel, oh, okay, I just have to be a good girl and do what mommy and daddy want me to do so that I will get love and, support. But I find that many people have a hard time setting boundaries in every area of their life, really. If it's something like, oh, I'm not happy with something at work or how people are treating me at work.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's like, oh my God, how am I going to have this conversation without losing my job? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of stress that comes with that, or just friends and family.
Mhm.
Sometimes you might be the safe empath who has the biggest heart and everybody wants to come to you for security. But you need to draw the line when, you're not fully resourced yourself. So how do we do that?
Mhm.
And that's a conversation that I teach people to have. Um, Basically, my formula is it's the sandwich technique.
Mm.
Or I either use the sandwich technique or this really great book. Have you heard the book Nonviolent Communication?
Yes, I have.
So
But tell me
if
about people who don't know what it is. Tell them what the sandwich technique is. It's I learned it like 30 years ago and it like still works.
this is something that my mother taught me, and it served me so well in my professional and personal life.
Yeah.
So if there's something that you have to say to somebody and you're like afraid that it might hurt their feelings, you just start out with a positive, and then you say the tough love, and then you end with the positive. And when you frame it that way, I feel like it's received a little bit better.
Mhm. Yes, absolutely. Such a great thing for parenting as well.
Oh, yeah.
Parenting and any kind of relationship really. And I think it just shows it because honestly, when you're a person, especially someone who's an empath, you need to get a point across, but you really do care about how they're feeling. And so you want to make sure that they know, hey, like you're a wonderful human and we all have things we're working on. So this is the one thing maybe I need to share. It's not going to feel really good, but I need to share it with you. And it's if I could maybe never say it, but then you might hear it from someone else and they're not going to be very nice about it. So it's actually a real blessing you're getting it in this calm, relaxed fashion of understanding, right? And then people walk away feeling more loved. Yeah, those conversations sometimes, like, with people in my close family, they may not like it right away, but then later on, I feel like, for instance, my kids, they'll come back to me and say, yeah, that thing we were talking about. Yeah, I understand what you meant. I just wasn't feeling myself, et cetera. And so it's just giving people that grace that they know that they can really be real with you if you're able to be real with them, right? Like that honesty, that is a bonding mechanism. And if it's, I feel like if it pushes people away and they never want to return, for instance, in a tough conversation, then that relationship perhaps wasn't meant to continue. It's all good. Everybody has their choices, but at least you can know that you did things in a kind way.
Yeah, that's
And so
important to me.
Yeah. And so tell me about nonviolent communication as well, maybe a high point from that book for people who may want to read it.
Sure. If you have a tough conversation coming up, I feel like this is a wonderful way to approach it without disrespecting anybody or making anyone wrong. So let's say you have a fight and you want to address it and state your claim about what wasn't working and what maybe you want them to do in the future. So you would simply say, when you did X, it made me feel Y. Like, for example, when you yelled at me in front of my husband, it made me feel disrespected. So the next time you're annoyed with me, please pull me aside and let's talk one on one. You can talk to me about anything. And I want you to tell me when I'm getting out of line, but let's just keep it between us.
Oh, okay. So I just want to like have you in my purse and just say, okay, Michelle, come on out. Need you now. Just say the words for me. That's so beautiful because as you're saying that right now, it feels really, really good. It feels loving, it feels kind, and it's a bridge builder instead of a bridge burner. So good.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so, for people who want to get a deeper understanding of how tapping works, I know anyone can go anywhere on the internet to find anything they want, but do you have a resource that you share with people that can kind of give them the basics on EFT?
I have tons of information on my blog and my YouTube channel. It depends on, if you like to read, go to the blog. If you like to watch and listen, check out the videos.
Yeah.
And there's so many great books out there as well. I feel like one of my favorite ones is The Science of Tapping by Dr. Peter Stapleton. In the book, there's so many clinical trials. She's like the top researcher out there about how this really works. It's effective. It's very effective for a lot of different things.
It's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And I will put links to those things, especially your website and your YouTube. And you have an Instagram as well. I see you on there, which is always fun. And I'll put those in the show notes. And then if you've got, do you have anything you'd like to share that's coming up for you that people should be looking out for?
Well, right now, I'm working on a group program around boundaries, but until
Great.
then, if you wanted to have one-on-one support, I offer a bundle of 6 sessions. I find that 6 sessions might be like the sweet spot, but who knows? Everybody's different. You might need more or less.
That's great. That's excellent. Because, yeah, people probably wonder, right? Like, when do you start to see? Sometimes you can feel like you're doing something new, whatever it may be, and like, okay, it's not working. And then all of a sudden something clicks. You're like, oh, it has been working. Whoa. I love that. Great. So I'll make sure that everyone go check out the show notes and you can find Michelle and follow her and work with her because I see this could be a real benefit in so many regards. And I'd love to ask you one last question. And that is with my whole love and focus on self care strategy, what, other than EFT tapping, what would you say is your favorite form of self care right now? Like, what's lighting you up at the moment?
I have just discovered grounding,
Mm.
energetic grounding. I feel like I can't go into a crowd without it. I can't start my day without it.
Yeah.
And I can take you through the exercise if you want.
Yes, please, because it's my favorite thing. I want to know what yours is like.
Okay. Well, I learned this from my friend Mary Kate, and she calls it ground, surround, and protect. And
Mm,
it only takes a few minutes in the morning. So if it's safe to do so, I invite you to close your eyes. And we'll just take one breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. So I want you to imagine that you are sitting on a tree trunk, and this is going to represent your grounding cord. And I want you to make that tree trunk as wide as your hips. And you're just going to imagine in your mind's eye that you're sending all of your energy down this tree trunk. And you're allowing your energy to go from your sits bones area down below the earth, below, if you're in the house, below the foundation of the house. It's passing through the rich, nutrient-rich soil. It's going beyond living waters. You find some boulders and rocks and roots. And at the very end, you find a beautiful, rough garnet stone. Now just imagine that you wrapping the energy cord around the stone. And I want you to write your initials on the stone, just to represent that you've landed. Now from here, I want you to pull up the earth's energy into the body. So imagine the beautiful, calming energy that can literally transmute anything you have going on into something positive. Pull it up through the grounding cord. Allow it to emerge through your feet and send it up through your calves and shins, allowing it to permeate the knees, the hips, tops of the legs, allowing it to flow past all your beautiful organs that work in harmony without you having to lift a finger. And it comes up to fill your heart, and it cascades from your shoulders down your arms, out your hands. And just imagine this beautiful healing energy is coming up the throat to fill you from the top of the head. Now, from here, we're going to imagine that we're a whale, and you're going to push the energy out of the crown around your beautiful aura. So if you choose to, you can call in a higher power at this time. It can even be a healed ancestor, and say, please protect my aura now. And to protect it, we're going to just imagine a ring of fire around your aura. And this is going clockwise around your space to burn away anything that does not serve you. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and face your day.
Wow. That was so good. Oh, the whale. It's interesting. It was a small whale, the one that I saw. It was really cute, actually. But I love this whole idea of having just having your aura, it's there and having it protected. And it's so interesting because there was a time where I thought that, like my spiritual background and everything would you know, kind of put a lot of these things in a box, right? Of what's possible, what's not possible. And of course, I've since learned so much and experienced so much about really we are energetic beings. And there's just so much to that. And I was at the naturopath yesterday with my son, and she has all of these beautiful crystals and sound bowls and all these different things in her practice that she uses. And my son, he's just very tactile. So even at 15, he's like, oh, what's this? And she's cool with him touching things. And he's like, oh, what's that? And she goes, oh, those are tuning forks. And so she uses them. And so we got talking about tuning forks and just energy and how, yeah, like we respond to each other. The fact that when you walk in a room and there are different people there, you feel a different energetic vibe depending on who's in there or what's happened, right? Like we feel the palpable feeling of when, like, I don't know, lately, whatever, the Stanley Cup is on, right? So a hockey team, not the Leafs, has moved on. And the excitement in the room of whoever is cheering for whatever, like we feel that. And then you also feel a feeling of when something that is maybe not so good that's happened. So if that's for some people who may be listening, trying to get their mind around this, the whole energetic side, it's really all we are. And we've been experiencing it our whole life. It's why animals know who to feel safe with and who not to feel safe with. It's how children kind of get a sense of who to feel safe with. And we sometimes we can disconnect from that. But I feel like the work that you're doing, Michele, helps people reconnect to that, which is their true nature.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Thank you so much for bringing us through that practice. And everyone, go download some of the other things that she's got on her YouTube channel, and feel free to replay this part of this episode if it really works for you to get that grounding for the day. I'm going to be listening to it for sure.
That's wonderful.
And you have such a calming voice.
Oh, thank you. I've heard that. So funny. Yeah, I'm like thinking, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll do some meditations or something.
Yes, please. Okay, everyone, you heard it here first. So be going back and checking out her meditations when they come. So there you go. There's your invitation, Michele. You got to do this. Well, I'm so grateful that you're here. And I look forward to staying in touch as well and hearing more about what you're doing and this program that you're putting together as well. I just think it's so wonderful when we find our soul work and when we're doing it with passion. It's amazing what happens because you're helping so many people. So thank you for that. And thank you for
Thank
being
you
here.
so much. Thank you, Sheila.
Everyone, thank you for listening. And I hope you're feeling calm and present to be able to face whatever is next for you now in your day or in your week. And if you found this valuable, please do share it and tag us on social media. You'll find our handles in the show notes, because I love to shout out messages that you tag me in. And I'm sure Michele would love to be able to share them as well. The more you share, the more people get this valuable information about how to live your version of a life of more in a really embodied way and in a way that feels good to you. So thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Have a beautiful rest of your week. Big blessings.